And today we are expecting to learn how and when the state plans to move forward on reopening the economy. And that decision will be tied to coronavirus case numbers. The latest numbers were just released a short time ago by the Louisiana Department of Health. Cases have gone up by 200, while there were nearly 30 new deaths reported overnight. The number of those in the hospital and on ventilators both decreased. And we always like this number. 2,000 more people were added to the recovery list since last week. All of these numbers are holding steady or lowering, which is very promising. Governor Edwards is expected to announce if he'll lift his restrictions designed to slow the spread of the virus. He's making that announcement during a press conference at 2:30 this afternoon. We will have that for you live right here on Channel 4, on our website and our Facebook page. We also expect to hear from New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell shortly after this show, so we'll bring you that live as well. Widespread testing is the only way to get accurate COVID-19 case numbers. And today, a new walk-up testing site opened in Treme. It's at the Treme Center at 900 North Villery Street. It's open until 1:30 this afternoon or until they run out of tests. That location will test through Wednesday. Then on Thursday, LCMC testing will move to the Cutoff Recreation Center. That's at 6600 Belgrade Street. Services there will be performed Thursday and Friday from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. In Mississippi, cities have begun their gradual reopening today. Governor Tate Reeves announced an amended stay-at-home order Friday, which allows the reopening of certain businesses. Gyms, barbershops, and salons can resume operations. When asked about his decision to reopen, Reeves said, quote, "We are reaching the point where the damage to these families is as disastrous as the virus." Later today, we could find out the impact the coronavirus pandemic has had on Louisiana's finances. The Revenue Estimating Conference will meet to determine how much money the state is expecting to collect this year. Today's meeting comes nearly a week after the House Appropriations Committee approved 4 measures that would try to restrain state spending. Today, Pope Francis prayed for people who have lost their jobs and remained without work as a result of the pandemic. The Pope has been conducting all of his events within the Vatican walls. The Vatican has confirmed there are 12 cases of COVID-19 among residents or employees of the tiny independent city-state. New outbreaks in South Korea, Germany, and China are causing concern as many areas begin to lift restrictions. Globally, cases sit at more than 4.2 million, with nearly 285,000 deaths worldwide. Here in the U.S., we have surpassed 1.3 million cases, and more than 80,000 Americans have died. Elise Preston has more.
Arizona is reopening dine-in restaurants today, including this burger place in Phoenix.
Financially, it's been tough. We've lost hundreds and hundreds of gigs.
Restaurants are taking safety precautions, but even still, death toll projections for Arizona have tripled. Updated predictions from the University of Washington show COVID-19 deaths are increasing more than researchers expected in several states, including California, Arizona, and Florida.
We're seeing just explosive increases in mobility in a number of states that we expect will translate into more cases and deaths, in 10 days from now.
In Florida, where the projected death toll has increased by nearly 1,500, city leaders in Naples say the beach was so overrun at the start of the weekend, they reclosed it Sunday morning.
No social distancing at all, no masks.
In Colorado, a restaurant that reopened in defiance of a statewide public health order drew massive crowds over the weekend. And in Wisconsin, protesters rallied to reopen churches.
Here in New York, the governor announced new rules for nursing homes, including requiring staff members to be tested twice a week. And hospitals cannot discharge patients to nursing homes unless they test negative for the virus.
Statewide, more than 5,000 nursing home residents have died from the virus. And a California doctor received a round of applause as he returned to work in Sacramento after treating patients for COVID-19 in New York City the last 2 weeks. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
And remember that many people across the globe continue to recover from coronavirus. As of today, more than 1.5 million people have gotten better, nearly 260,000 of those in the United States. And again, that new number for recoveries here in Louisiana is now more than 22,000. Stocks sold off in early trading as investors worried about coronavirus cases rising in South Korea and other countries. Here's a live look at the Dow Jones. As you can see, down right now about 40 points. So we'll have to follow that throughout the day. With so many unknowns due to COVID-19, our area needs federal dollars. And one way to make sure that happens is to fill out the 2020 census. You can do that at 2020census.gov. It's only 9 questions long. It takes about 10 minutes to finish. At last count, only about 50% of households in New Orleans had theirs done. So we got to get those done, guys.